Welcome back to Overhead Athletics. I'm joined by Colby here. He's actually just committed to Grand Valley. He's played at Mott Community College, and he's in for an assessment today. We're looking at shoulder rotation. Just let your arm go floppy for me, nice and relaxed. So I want you to take note, this is with no overpressure, the degree of internal rotation on his glove side. Now let's take that over to this side, just when he goes floppy. No rotation here. And you can see that he likes to come forward in the socket. So if I really pin the shoulder, and we just had our continuing education course for medical professionals the other day, we talked about the proper way to measure shoulder internal rotation. We expect to see a little less on the throwing side, but we don't expect to see that. You know, we want to see him get down into here, maybe 60 degrees of internal rotation. He's got to have a requisite amount to go through the follow through of the throw, and so he's not had any serious arm injury, but you can see the obvious difference here. So I take him at 90 degrees, hold the shoulder down, and I take it into internal rotation without any passive overpressure, just to the point where I feel the first stop. And that's a massive difference side to side, so that's something we're going to have to improve. Additionally, I come onto his scapula, and I feel when his scapula starts to move in my hand as I take him across his body, and it happens very early and excessive on the right side compared to the other side, compared to the glove side. So what motions do we need? I was just talking to him. We need internal rotation and horizontal adduction in our follow through. He's lacking. So we're going to have to work on that, whether that's mobilization, whether that's stretching. We like to do some contract relax here. So push up into me, relax, nothing, no pinching in the shoulder. Push up into me. This is one of the techniques we can use to identify, relax, go. Whether we have a capsular limitation, relax, or a muscular limitation. Push, relax. So we've gained a little bit, but he's stiff right there. So I bring my chest in, I grab his arm, now I want to assess, and he doesn't move inferior at all. So at this point, I'm going to give him a little mob down. Not the most comfortable thing in the world. Push into my chest, relax. And then I'm going to reinforce this with a stretch that he's going to do at home. Go, relax. So there's our assessment and a little mobilization of shoulder internal rotation. Now we can come and reassess, hold the shoulder down, 90 degrees. Don't let any pop up in the socket, no cranial migration in the socket. Hold. He's resting in the scapular plane, and it's much, much better. So a little contract, relax, a little inferior gliding. Let go floppy. 20 degrees better. And we expect to see about 10, 15 degrees variation side to side, maybe as much as 20. And what I'm seeing right here is closer to that 20 mark as opposed to maybe 40. So big improvement with just some contract relax that gives us good indication that, hey, maybe we can stretch this a bit, and then maybe we'll apply a little bit of glides. But remember, 90 degrees, elbow up a little bit, let him do it just floppy, see his pathway of least resistance, then come in, pull him up to the point where you want him, hold the shoulder down, and then see where he gets to passively with no overpressure. So there's where he was, here's where he's at now, just with a 7-second mobilization, little stretch. So those are things to start doing in your practice to look at shoulder internal rotation, because if you could sit here and go like this, like we just talked about the course, oh great, looks good. Well, look at his shoulder. It's going way up in the socket. So that's not glenohumeral internal rotation. That's shoulder complex internal rotation with scapular tilting, anterior tilting, everything like that. So make sure you're very specific in your assessment of internal rotation so you can fully understand whether you actually have a deficit or not. And if you look at this thing side to side and you understand that there's going to be less on the throwing side, you can be much more prescriptive in your exercise and your self-mobilizations.